Today I'm sharing with you my top 5 arms exercises for bigger, stronger biceps using only calisthenics. These are going to make you well-rounded. You're not only going to have the looks aesthetically, you're also going to build functional arms that you can then translate to any strength sport you want. You want to do bodyweight exercise? You're sweet. You want to lift weights and jump into that world? You know what? Calisthenics won't let you down. Check it out. The pelican curl will challenge you to the max. Why we're doing this exercise is to grow the long head of our biceps, increasing the peak of your arms. When doing curls with the arms behind the body, our arms are behind the torso. It places more emphasis onto the long head of the biceps. The result of this is you're going to have a better looking front double biceps pose, making those arms pop like Mount Everest. It's always a smart idea to have both a lengthened biceps exercise, your pelican curl, as well as a contracted biceps exercise, your ring curl, for best results. The reason for this is because it's targeting different parts of the muscle, stressing different parts of the movement, which I'll explain now. With pelican curls, you're getting a maximal biceps stretch. Just look at the position. There's that full elongation of your biceps, which is a really powerful growth stimulus. By comparison to a standing curl, bless it, decent exercise in its own right, but you're not getting that same level of stretch and stress as this one. In terms of difficulty, pelican curls are most challenging at the start position when your biceps are working at a mechanical disadvantage. This challenge, it's tough, but it will change you by comparison to the resistance profile of a normal curl, where it's challenging at that midpoint range of motion. The best rep range for pelican curls is definitely 5 to 10. The reason being, the eccentric takes a hella long time. The time under tension feels like an eternity. So after 5 to 10 reps, you'll find that this is the perfect blend where you can concentrate, give a good mental and physical effort, lock in, grind through the reps, and have a nice range for you to stick within and progress your intensity. Speaking of progression, the best way to do so with this movement is by working closer towards the ground, lowering your ring straps, working towards that horizontal position, employing other things such as slower negatives, and lastly, do not skip the range of motion. I don't want to see these bent elbow pelican curls. Strive for that full elbow extension. Build that tissue resilience. Challenge your muscles and you will grow. It may shock you, but the inverted row is actually a surprisingly good exercise for arms. Find out why that neutral grip shouldn't be skipped. What makes this unique as an arms exercise is it targets the brachialis, the muscle that sits in between your biceps and triceps. You can think of this as the middle bicep muscle that makes your arm look more completely aesthetic, especially when viewed from the side. It's going to pop out more, but you also get some yoked forearms because you're training that brachioradialis, which is missing from your conventional pull-ups, chin-ups, your compound exercises, and it's missing from your traditional bicep curls. The technique makes it pretty arm dominant. You're pulling with tons of elbow flexion, and you can enhance this effect by thinking of shrugging up as you're doing your rows. Honestly, where these shine is when they're done for high reps. After a set of 10 to 20 plus, when you're going close to failure, your rep speed is slowing down, you're going to get a tremendous pump in your arms, and it feels absolutely sickening. You exit a set feeling like a damn gorilla as you get up. You're pumped, you're ready to go, you've got your biceps are popping, you got your outer bicep, you got your forearms, you're feeling yoked, where you're getting the compound benefits, but you're training your arms at the same time. Any excuse to train arms is a good reason in my book. You can make it harder by changing your posture relative to gravity, starting out standing, going more towards horizontal, using a longer strap makes it harder as well. You can go single arm to essentially double the difficulty going through one arm. You can throw on a weight vest, a dip belt to add body weight to your body weight, essentially with these, as well as front lever rows. The sky's the limit with them in terms of how you can progress them long term. The inverted row is a go-to hypertrophy movement because it has an excellent stimulus to fatigue ratio. Your body can handle a ton of volume, plenty of sets, plenty of reps, you can really push these hard to failure and beyond failure, where you're barely getting your arms bending at the end of your set, and you'll really feel this pump, stimulus, and stress going through your arms. The inverted row has a lower fatigue amount because you're using less of your body weight by comparison to a pull-up, plus you've got that enhanced stability of the feet on the bench, making it a little bit less taxing. Rings are a superior choice for inverted rows compared to a straight bar because of the freedom of movement. It's way more friendly on your joints, the shoulders, elbows, and wrists, because that rotation allows you to move freely and your body can choose its natural pulling path and makes it for a much safer long-term biceps training option. That's the most important thing when it comes to training. It's longevity, it's consistency, and it's progression. You can't make your body stronger and bigger and train your arms to the max if you're in pain. And if you're using rings and it feels good and you can stress the life out of your muscles, that's a great long-term option. If you're bored of doing bicep curls at the gym with weights, you can always do calisthenics to effectively target your biceps. The ring curl is one of the few bicep-only exercise that you can do using calisthenics. What's unique about the ring curl is it increases your biceps width. This is because when we're doing the curls, our arms are in front of the torso, which preferentially biases the short head of the bicep. This means that your hard work is going to result in an increased biceps width. So when you're flexing your arms from the front, your arms are going to look wider. Just a little bit. With technique, what I'm looking for is you want to combine shoulder flexion with elbow flexion. Think about doing a front raise and then doing a bicep curl at the end. This is going to give you a nasty contraction because you're getting that bicep working at both the elbow as well as the shoulder. You're really going to enjoy the pump once you hone in on this technique and really emphasize that mind-muscle connection. What I really enjoy about the ring curl is it closely mimics what's happening with a dumbbell curl. We're getting that supination as we rotate our wrist and our forearm as we're coming up through the exercise. And you can also add in a bit of wrist flexion, a bit of overgrip to help you enhance that peak contraction. The resistance profile of ring curls is such that it is most difficult in the middle to top range of motion, near that peak contraction. It's very comparable in sensation to that of a spider curl, one when you're on the bench, leaning forward and curling up the dumbbells in that way. Don't be afraid of getting a little bit sloppy on the final few reps, where you use a bit of body English, a bit of momentum to help get you up through that difficult sticking point. And also don't be afraid of pushing it close to failure, beyond complete technical failure, going towards that muscular failure where you're barely getting a few elbow bends. That's where the magic happens. I recommend trying the single arm ring curl if you're someone who's struggling with that mind-muscle connection, or you've got a big weakness or strength asymmetry between sides. It's much more difficult because you're not only doing double the work on one arm, you've also got that added body rotation that you have to control as you're curling up, making for a fun environment. Neglecting bicep isolation means that you're missing out on gains. If you're someone who loves calisthenics, but you only do your compound exercises, pull-ups, rows, chin-ups, you're just not going to be as well-rounded and complete. We want to isolate our biceps directly so that we can prevent injury. Those pesky bicep tears tend to happen from poor conditioning and poor strength through this area, which can be mitigated by doing things like ring curls, or even something that's a little bit more innocuous, such as an overuse injury, your golfer's elbow, where you tend to get that tendon pain. You can mitigate this from happening by having strong biceps and strong adaptive tendons through things like ring curls. It's beyond just the aesthetics. You're going to get all of these other benefits to make you well-rounded. Being a training minimalist isn't the smartest option, and I know you guys love your training, you're smart, you're dedicated, you want to work towards that optimal position. You have to choose exercises and movements. They often are isolation-based to exhaust every movement and muscle in your body so that you can become complete. Our body can be thought of as an interconnected chain. If we have any weak links, we're going to be bottlenecked for how big and strong we can become. That's a long-winded way of me saying just do a few sets of curls and you're going to build some functional arms and carry on. The chin-up should be your go-to choice for bigger biceps, not pull-ups. Here's why. Chin-ups put the biceps in a biomechanically stronger position to produce force. With the palms facing towards our body, the biceps can do what they do best, which is flex the elbow and supinate the forearm. The supination grip is what makes the chin-up a unique exercise. The biceps are in their best position to maximize that pull-up performance. By comparison to the pronated pull-up, the biceps are in a mechanically weaker position and the lats have better leverage to help in the exercise. EMG studies show significantly higher biceps activation, around 50% more during chin-ups compared to pull-ups. This correlates with chin-ups recruiting more motor units in the biceps across more of the movement. The caveat is you have to take EMG research with a grain of salt because it doesn't directly measure hypertrophy, mechanical tension, or load over time. However, if you're able to do more reps or lift heavier weights on a chin-up, chances are in the real world it's a better bicep building exercise for you. The movement pattern of chin-ups is completely different to pull-ups, and that's going to influence the muscle activation in the exercise. You see, with a chin-up, we're moving in the sagittal plane of motion. Our elbows are moving forward and back like this. There's a ton of elbow flexion, so the biceps are recruited heavily. Compared to a pull-up, it's more in the frontal plane of motion. You've got wider grip, flared elbows, and you're doing a lot of adduction, which is going to emphasize more of the lats. For me, the weighted chin-up has been in my workout rotation for years, and here's why. It's got a lifetime of progressive overload. You're never going to outgrow it. You can keep adding heavier weights to your body over time and remain challenged. You've got a ton of mechanical tension, which is great for growth. Because the chin-up is a compound exercise, you can load this bad boy up as heavy as you need to, and the raw stimulus that you get from a weighted chin-up is just going to absolutely blow anything you can do on a biceps curl isolation out of the water. Tell me how heavy you can chin up and I will tell you how big and strong your biceps are. If we compare a beginner who's doing bodyweight chin-ups to a beast doing plus 40 kilo chin-ups, the difference is going to be absolute night and day in terms of their muscle size. The truth is, gains are slow in naturals. It's going to take months or years to see any visual difference in the amount of muscle that you have. So performance is one of the best proxies that we can use to see if we're improving. Because if your weighted chin-up numbers are trending up over time, you can be safely assured that you're going to be getting bigger as a byproduct to that. Besides, seeing this performance trend upwards gives you a level of satisfaction and intrinsic motivation that can't be bought. It has to be earned. A pro tip for pain-free chin-ups where you can get that bicep bias without the joint pain, use the half supination grip. You'll find this set up at most cable stations in the gym or even well-equipped squat racks. If I'm not using rings to do my chin-ups, I'm opting for that half supination every day of the week. For my fellow bros watching who struggle with that overhead mobility, the half supination grip is going to give you the best of both worlds where you're stimulating the muscle but you're not feeling the aches and pains. It's such a shame when I see people discard the chin-up because they've tried the straight bar version. It hurts their elbows, they don't like the way it feels, so they throw away the exercise. You're smarter than that. You know you can use a half supination grip or rings to still do the chin up and get the benefits. If you think one arm chin ups are impossible, you're just missing one thing, mate. Smart progression. Get ready to unlock insane bicep strength and size, one arm at a time. The finger assisted one arm chin up is the superior exercise when it comes to unilateral one arm pull-ups. Your goal here is to minimize the amount of assistance on the non-working side. We do this by using the finger method. 4 fingers to start with is a lot of assistance. You take away fingers over time, eventually using the pinky, and it's going to increase the amount of load going through that working side. Your goal is to choose an intensity that is challenging for around 3 to 6 rep sets. This is going to really challenge you quite hard, and it's going to force that working arm to do the work. Your goal over the coming months is simple in theory, but hard in practice. You're going to decrease the finger assist and also consciously trying to use the assisting side less and less. Before you know it, you'll be pulling predominantly with that one arm. Depending on the amount of finger assist, you're probably lifting about 60 to 90% of your body weight on one arm, which makes this unilateral calisthenics exercise plenty challenging. A bonus benefit of using rings for your chin-ups is you're less likely to get golfer's elbow and overuse injuries. This exercise is hard. There's a lot of force and stress going through one arm, which is great for growth, great for strength, but it comes at a cost. You have to respect how much intensity and load is going through these tendons through here. Rings mitigate the risk of injury because of all those degrees of freedom that we've spoken about. You combine ring, one arm style chin-up training with patient progression, load management, you're going to be fine. But the long-term goal is to use this exercise as a stepping stone towards the one-arm chin-up. Don't bother with doing one-arm lat pull-downs and all these free weight or gym exercises. If you want strength, you need to be specific. If you have a goal of doing a one-arm chin-up someday, we have to chase the challenge, and if we want to get specific strength, we should do similar exercises. I would always start with my non-dominant or weaker side first. So for me, I always start my left arm first. For my set, I rest for around 30 to 60 seconds before continuing onto the other unilateral side. A common question is, should I do more reps or sets on my weaker side and less on my stronger side? Keep it simple, do the same amount of work on both. If you prioritize the weaker side first in the set, then you'll probably end up getting towards a point of balance over time. But if you always have a stronger side, don't stress, that's completely normal too. Do you want to build muscle and get stronger? Get the best of both worlds. Shop Fitness FAQ's calisthenics workouts.